In closing remarks this evening, I want to talk about a little bit of encouragement for those of us on the right that have been watching this snooze slash love fest over Kamala Harris and the Waltz candidacy, and really kind of taking it with I'm looking askance at it, my friends. I don't believe that the majority of Americans are that excited about Harris and Waltz. So you have Harry Enton over at CNN, and he did some research and comparisons to the poll numbers from the last time that President Trump was polled as a presidential candidate and won. And he found some very interesting statistics from 2016 in comparison to 2020, and then in comparison to this year in 2024. Take a look.
I want to take a step back and sort of point out we've kind of been here before. So August 13th, how far were the polls off in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin? And this is in 2016 and 2020. Trump was estimated both times around and by significant margins. Take a look here. In 2016, the average poll in those states that I mentioned, those Great Lake battleground states, Trump was underestimated by 9 points on average at this point in 2016. How about 2020? It wasn't a one-off. Look at this. He was underestimated by 5 points on average. And of course, Kamala Harris's advantage in those New York Times Siena College polls were 4 points in each of these key battleground states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. The bottom line is this. If you have any idea, if you're a Kamala Harris fan and you want to rip open the champagne bottle, pop that cork, do not do it. Donald Trump is very much in this race. If we have a polling shift like we've seen in prior years from now until the final result, Donald Trump would actually win. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I am saying that he is very much in this ballgame based upon where he is right now, and compare that to where he was in prior years.
So he's very much in this ball game. I could have told you that, but thank you, Harry, for doing the heavy lifting and bringing us the receipts on how these polls compare. I actually think the polls are just snapshots and they're informational, but you got to go into the crosstabs and find out, did they oversample Democrats by 9%, which has been the standard since polls began? Are they looking at likely voters or voters who voted in the last election only, or the last two elections, or the last three elections? Sometimes they micro target and they only poll people who voted in the off elections. That's April or August. You have to look at the crosstabs to really understand what kind of questions did they ask? Were they leading? How did they want this response to go? And who's the polling organization? Who did they partner with to get it done? Usually mainstream polls oversample Democrats, which gives you a skewed representation and gives a sense of inevitability for Democrat candidates. And some of them are inevitable. Ilhan Omar easily sailed to victory in her heavily Somali district. She will remain in Congress as a member of the squad. But other squad members have been easily taken out by Ally PAC dollars. So were the polls correct in those races? Are they informative? I wouldn't swear by them. I would say, look at them, understand they're a snapshot, but carry yourself with control, with energy. Do you want to see your candidate win? I want to see Donald Trump win. So I'm doing everything I can to make that happen, regardless of what the polls say. So turning to a clip from Fox Business, you have Varney and Company hosting MRC founder and president Brent Bozell. And he had a challenge for Mark Zuckerberg and Kamala Harris. Watch this.
Well, here's your readers won't be able to see this. Just trust me on this. If you can look at this, this is a printout of 24 headlines that came out today on that. Every single headline savaged Trump, Musk, or both. And basically what they were saying was it was softball questions for 2 hours. Did I mention it was 2 hours? Did I mention that Trump sat down for 2 hours and Kamala Harris hasn't sat down for 2 minutes with anyone? I would be perfectly happy if how's this for an idea, Stuart? Let's have Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook do a 2-hour interview with Kamala Harris, where he can ask her the similar questions as he asked Elon Musk. I'd love to see that. She won't do it because the last thing she wants to do is to have to answer to the public.
Oh, can you imagine the amount of word salad you would be treated to if Kamala Harris sat anywhere and spoke for 2 hours straight? Oh, I don't have the energy for it. I couldn't watch it. But what I will say is that the sit down between Musk and Trump was really instructive. And there were a number of individuals who are not political who took to X to post about it afterwards. And they asked some common sense questions. I was particularly impressed by how many people went above the media fray, didn't listen to what they were literally burning to the ground, screaming at the moon, sitting on the sidewalk in agony over the fact that Musk and Trump had an intelligent conversation, even after a sustained DDoS attack, a denial of service attack, which is basically an online attack on the X website and infrastructure to take it down so that the conversation couldn't occur. They started 40 minutes late. They were able to get the conversation going. And after some initial, kind of rally-esque conversation from President Trump, Musk got to ask some very important questions. And he did extend an invitation to Kamala Harris to come and have the same sit down with him, even though he's already endorsed Trump. So, what do I make of it? It was fabulous. And if I could have been there, I would have been sitting there listening in rapt attention because the richest man on the planet and a former president talked about the way we can live as Americans. That's important to all of us. That's the program for tonight. I'm Stacey Washington. You can find out more about me at stacey.washington.us. See you tomorrow.